and we need to look inside ourselves, and have we internalized this issue? Submitting to the will of Allah, submitting to His commands, being that slave of Allah. And every single thing in creation is, whether it likes it or not, a created being is a slave of Allah, whether they like it or not. Yet the Muslim is given that higher degree. Why? Because he chooses, out of his free will, he chooses to submit to everything that Allah has ordered. This is Islam. Istislamu lillah, complete and utter submission to Allah. Whether He orders us with something that we understand the benefits of or we don't understand, yet we know, we actualize and we practice the fact that Allah is Al-Alim, Al-Hakim. He is the most knowing, the all-knowing, the most wise. So whenever He orders something, and we know it is an order from Allah, we enact it whether we understand the wisdom behind it or not. And whenever Allah prohibits, likewise, we follow. We say, as Allah tells us in the Quran, that the statement of the believers is, قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They say, we hear and we obey. غُفْرَانَكَ. Oh Allah, forgive us. This is the statement of the believers when they hear any command or prohibition. We need to work on ourselves to become those true slaves of Allah who completely submit to His will, His orders, His prohibitions, staying away from them. That is Al-Islam. Anything short of that, then we haven't practiced Islam the way Allah wants us to practice it. We haven't entered Islam completely and fully as Allah has told us to. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu dukhulu fi as-silmi kaffa. Oh, you who believe, enter Islam completely and fully. So with that, inshallah, let us turn to some of your questions. The first viewer, inshallah, the first viewer's question, inshallah, go ahead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, sister.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a question. Is regarding your wishes, like, say for instance, you're praying to Almighty Allah to grant you something, and along the line something comes your way, but you're not very sure if it's actually what it's meant to be because it doesn't fulfill some of the criteria that you stated. Say for instance, you're trying to look for a righteous spouse,
yep.
And you've already highlighted some of the things you're hoping to find in a person, but somehow you met someone and the person does not fully meet some of the criteria or some of the things you like to have in a future spouse. So
okay, inshallah.
What do you do? Do you leave it outrightly until you get exactly what you want, or you just give it a trial and see what happens while you're still praying to Almighty Allah? So I'm just confused. I'd just like you to advise and shed more light on that.
Okay, we'll try to deal with that, inshallah. Concerning dua in general and things that you wish for, things that you ask for, whenever you make a dua to Allah and you're asking for something, we know that Allah is going to respond. Allah never leaves a dua except that He responds to it. So, how does Allah respond to our dua? Sometimes He gives us exactly what we want as we want it. That's clear. Sometimes Allah doesn't give us what we want, what gives us something better than that. Sometimes Allah withholds that thing from us and gives us something better than that in the hereafter. Sometimes Allah will remove, because of that dua, a calamity, so you'll get something which you didn't expect, or you don't understand that it was a response to that dua. So how Allah answers that dua is different. It does not have to be in the way we want. Now, concerning the issue of a spouse, and a person making dua for certain traits in a spouse or a spouse-to-be, etc., and then you see certain traits in someone, but not the full criteria being met. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, his advice to us in this issue is that if you find someone who is pleasing to you in his deen and pleasing to you in his character, then accept him and marry him. And if you do not do so, you're going to spread corruption in the land. Now, yes, compatibility issues and other practical issues may play a part, but you will never find anyone who is perfect. And if we look for that perfect person that fits every single criteria on our lists, we will in fact, never end up getting married. There are many brothers and sisters out there who, especially at the beginning, in the beginning of their search for a spouse, they have this huge, long criteria list. And then what happens? No one meets the criteria list and years go by and they haven't got married. So the criteria list practically has to get short. And it becomes shorter because why? They realize that they're not being practical, they're not being pragmatic about the issue. So you're never going to find that perfect spouse, but as long as they meet the main criteria and the main issues that you require, which is deen, character, good nature, those kind of issues, as long as the main issues are met, then one should proceed with that marriage, inshaAllah ta'ala, as long as you've sought counsel from your family members and you've made istikhara, etc., and nothing prevents you from that, then go along and marry that person and pray to Allah that Allah makes that person better. So we remember also, once a person gets married, the person will not, both sides, whether the husband or the wife, they never stay the same. There's always a change that occurs once you get married, situations change, children come along, all of these kinds of issues impact on characters, impact on personalities, so they actually change and a person develops as they grow. So that should also be taken into account. Perhaps they're not that perfect person right now. It doesn't actually mean and necessitate that they won't be that perfect person later in life. All of us can change for the better and all of us can change for the worse. So we pray that Allah makes us change for the better in all circumstances. طيب, with that, let's turn to the next question, inshallah. Go ahead, viewer. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, brother.
I've been traveling for Umrah, inshallah.
MashaAllah.
I just wanted to know how many days, could be shortening my salah if need be, but how many days am I allowed to do this?
How many days are you allowed to do what, sorry?
Days.
I didn't catch that. Can you say it again, please?
I'm going for 10 days.
For 10 days, okay. Umrah for 10 days?
How many days am I allowed to shorten my salah if need be?
Okay, shorten the salah. طيب, okay. The brother's asking, he's going on Umrah for 10 days, and he's asking about the shortening of the prayers and how many days can he do that. Now, when one goes for Umrah especially, obviously you're going to the Masjidul Haram. And whenever someone is in Mecca and in Medina, you will undoubtedly pray in the masjid, and why you would never want to lose the reward of praying in Masjid al-Haram or Masjid al-Nawawi. Why? The Prophet ﷺ has told us about that prayer being worth so much more than any other prayer. So no one's going to leave that opportunity. Now, shortening of the prayers, if we look at this issue, whenever someone is traveling, and some scholars say there is a limit to the number of days, 3 days after which you will not be a traveler. And there is another opinion which says that as long as you are a traveler, the days, doesn't matter how many days, as long as you are still a traveler, then you still have the concessions of shortening the prayers. Now, the issue will not arise for a person when they're going to Umrah for most of the time. It will only occur when they're not in Mecca praying behind the Imam. Because when you're praying behind an Imam, you will pray the full prayer just as they pray the full prayer. Even if you were to come late to that prayer, you would make up as if you were praying the full prayer. The only issue would arise when you're traveling from one place to another, and then you're praying in a small congregation of travelers or something like that. Then you would shorten your prayer and combine your prayer if that facilitates the travel itself. Now, if we look at the brother's situation, you're going to go from the UK and you're going to go to Saudi Arabia, so there's that opportunity that you're going to be praying the traveling prayers. So there you have the option of combining and shortening to facilitate the journey. Then you will enter into Mecca, and then you'll be praying in Masjid al-Haram, so then the issue won't arise again. And then at some point you'll travel to from Mecca to Medina. So again, because you're not praying in the normal masajid behind the normal imams, you'll shorten your prayer again. And after that, you'll probably be traveling back from Medina either to Mecca or to Jeddah and flying out. So then the traveling situation occurs there. So inshallah, as long as you are traveling during that journey, inshallah, you can shorten and combine if you're praying in a jama'ah or by yourself of travelers. But whenever praying behind an imam, then you will pray the full prayer just as the imam prays the full prayer. Even if you were late and you were making up because you were praying behind the imam, you would pray the full prayer. طيب. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And let's take the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam, brother. I'm just inquiring, what do you do for a child who was believer, who was praying and doing all sorts of good acts, i.e. worshipping, and now she has stopped for a while now? What do you make for a child who is deviating from the deen that she was born into?
Okay. Sister's asking concerning a person who was doing good acts and then has stopped. What can you do for them? What should you do for them? Particular du'as or things like this. Now, first and foremost, we pray that this person, whoever he is, may Allah guide them back to the straight path and make them firm upon that straight path as they were before and even better. Now, what is required when you find someone practicing or implementing Islam and then suddenly stopping, it should make a person reflect. While we are living, a person is never safe. A person is never safe while he is living. He is constantly under attack by shaitan, and the hearts are between the fingers of Ar-Rahman, and he turns them as he wills. So one should never feel secure of Allah and the trials and tribulations of this life. In fact, the hadith says, the hadith Qudsi, لا أجمع على عبدي خوفين ولا أمنين. I will never bring together 2 times of fear and 2 times of peace upon my slave. If he fears me in this world, I give him peace in the hereafter, and if he feels safe from me in this world, I will make him fear me يوم القيامة. So a person never feels safe. Never feels safe for their family, never feels safe for themselves. It requires constant reminders and constant beseeching of Allah for this person in particular, especially if they're a close family relative, then the issue is even more important. We constantly make dua to Allah because He is the one who guides. As Allah says, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Saying to the Prophet ﷺ, you are not the one who guides, rather it is Allah that guides. All we can do, the ability that we have is to clarify the truth and to explain the truth in the best way possible that we possibly can. Now, this is incumbent upon the person. You know, you remind the person of the reality of this life. Just yesterday, we were at a brother's janazah, and when you look and you stand at the foot of that grave, when you stand at that grave, that ditch which is 6 or 7 feet deep, and you see the body being lowered into that, it really makes it sink home that this is the reality of this life. So you try to remind them of that and draw them close to Allah by saying, this is your slave, this is your master, and you are the slave. So He only wants good for you. Everything in Islam is to give you eternal bliss. So try to keep persevering in your reminding them and beseeching Allah to give them guidance and keep them steadfast on the straight path. طيب, let's go to the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Go ahead, brother.
My question is, can a mosque receive zakat, or a person can pay his zakat to a mosque? That's my question. Okay,
Jazakallah khairah. The zakah money is the categories that can go to the categories to which zakah can be paid have been stipulated specifically in Al-Quran. The mosque, building the mosque and things for the mosque are not part of those categories. So we don't give as zakah money to the mosque, which doesn't mean that we don't give to the mosque. Rather, sadaqah is something blessed. And we know the famous hadith, you'll find it in all of the masajid, Man bana lillahi masjidan, bana Allahu lahu baytan fil jannah. Whoever builds for Allah a house, then Allah will build for him a house in Jannah. So although you can't give zakah, one is encouraged to give sadaqah to the masjid. And if we do not give from our wealth to the masajid, especially in a country like this, a non-Islamic country, then how will the masajid run? How will they be able to facilitate all the activities that are required and the services that are required by the Muslim ummah in this country? So one doesn't give zakah money, but gives their sadaqah money, their optional charity, to the masjid, inshallah. طيب, let's take the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam, Sheikh.
Tfaddal, go ahead.
I've got one question. It's regarding, I was reading Surah Al-Baqarah. It's the first few pages, and I read the verse where it said Allah was speaking to the angels, and Allah was saying that He's going to create human beings in the world. And the angels replied by saying, are you going to create something which is going to create havoc in the world? Can you just tell me if there was another being living on earth before the human beings were created?
Okay, Jazakallah khairah. Sisters asking concerning the verse in Surah Baqarah and the general the narrative in the Quran that we find talking about where Allah created Adam, or rather tells the angels that He's going to create human beings and place them in the land. And they say back to Allah that, are you going to create this being who's going to create corruption in the land? We know that jinn were created before this. Iblis was there, and he had power over the jinn, and there's corruption being spread by the jinn, and then various things were happening. So they knew about these creation, the creation of the jinn and how they behaved, and that creation, the jinn, are still present with us today. So the angels had experience of some creatures, and Allah knows best if there's other creatures that they had experience of. Allah knows best, but what we do know for sure is that the jinn were known by the angels, and this creation was known, and they spread corruption through the land. So clear analogy or simple analogy being used, but then Allah tells them, I know that which you do not know. Okay? Yes, man has the potential of spreading corruption and doing evil, but likewise he has the potential of doing so much good. And Allah wants that good. And Allah wants this creation to submit to His one and only deity, His Lord, Allah. And that is the greatest good a person can do. And Allah knows that there will be people who spread corruption and disbelieve, but likewise there will be people who believe and worship Allah, and the thing they do is draw close to Allah with everything that He loves. So because of this, Allah, and for other wisdoms as well, Allah wants this to occur. So He tells the angels, yes, I know what you do not know. And thus the creation of Adam alayhi salam happens, and we find ourselves in the current situation that we're in. طيب, with that, let's turn to the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, brother, can you do Duaa for me, please?
Du'a for you.
And can you do Duaa for me, brother?
Inshallah. Is there any question that you have? طيب. The brother requesting dua, may Allah give blessings to all of the Muslims wherever they are in the world, and remove from them all anxieties and stress. And especially in these times when we find Muslims in distress and tribulations all over the world, it's incumbent on us, whenever we make dua, that we remember the Muslims. And this is something, whenever we do it, there will be an angel. Whenever you make dua for your brother in Islam, behind his back, without him knowing that you're making dua for him, there will be an angel saying, oh Allah, give him the like of that thing. So when one thinks about that, it encourages a person to make more dua for his brothers, because why? He will get an angel making dua for him. And we all look around for those people that we think will be close to Allah, and their dua will be more accepted to us, to Allah rather, for us, we all look around for that. And then we think about an angel who only ever obeys Allah. So then will Allah reject the dua of such an angel? So we think we need to get this dua, and the simple way you get that dua is to make dua for your brothers and sisters wherever they are in the world. Something so easy to do, something that doesn't take us any effort, something beloved to Allah that He rewards with such a blessing. And then at the same time, a person, when you visit a sick person, go out of your way to visit a sick person, there are thousands of angels who are seeking forgiveness for you. So these kinds of deeds, very simple for us to do, and very beloved to Allah, that gain His pleasure and allow us to have our du'as accepted, inshallah. So, issue of du'a, very, very important, and getting the angels to make du'a for us, as we've seen, is very, very easy. So let us not forget any of our brothers. May Allah cure the brothers who are sick. May Allah remove anxiety from all of the brothers and the distress that we have, whether in Syria, Bangladesh, or any other country in the world, Afghanistan, Iraq, we could name them all. May Allah relieve them of all stress and give them more blessings, inshallah. With that, we're going to pause for the break, and we'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم
Al-Quran Academy London has been distributing free the Quran with translation in Bangladesh, India, Nepal and UK since 2010. Alhamdulillah, we have so far distributed more than 200,000 copies of the Holy Quran. Be a part of this noble project by sponsoring any number of Quran. Please donate today for the satisfaction of Allah. Call 020 3570 9972.
Children in rural areas are getting ready for a big event. 5,000 children reading the Quran simultaneously on the world platform. Be part of this record-breaking event by sponsoring a child for just £100. The Big Read Hat-Trick, breaking 3 world records in one spectacular day, putting the world's poorest on a global stage. For more information, visit thebigreadhattrick.org.
It is a fact of life that our Islamic values are constantly challenged in the land we live, testing our homes and our family bonds. Often, wise words from our elders cannot heal the rifts. Islamic law advocates are Sharia-qualified lawyers handling all family law-related issues.
We specialize in Islamic compliant reconciliation and mediation for both parties in keeping with your fiqh and school of beliefs. We're supported by many Islamic organizations and authorities.
Islamic law advocates, where religious obligation and domestic law work hand in hand.
DWFM Beckman Solicitors, located in the heart of central London, offer expert legal advice of the highest quality, uniquely coupled with understanding of religious and cultural sensitivities. Led by our matrimonial partner, Sophia Mosawi, who utilizes her considerable experience in acting in high net worth cases for both husbands and wives. We can assist you in all aspects of family law, including divorce, access to children, and financial disputes. Visit dwfmbeckman.com. Where can you go for your perfect 14 nights holiday? Travel Express is offering you a lifetime trip, 2 weeks of full pleasure and spiritual experience. Flying from London to Jordan, where you'll experience some of the oldest Islamic sites. The experience will take you back to thousands of years of history. Pray Al-Jumu'ah at Masjid Al-Aqsa. As part of the package, Makkah Al-Mukarramah is your next destination, where you'll perform your Umrah prayers. Medina Al-Munawwara is the land where Islam was introduced. Welcome to the city of the Prophet. This fantastic offer includes accommodation, all local transportation, tours and flights. For more details, please contact us on 08000 14 14 19 or website www.hajjandumrahexpress.com. This could be the most fulfilling trip you ever dreamed of.
Islamic Magazine is a fresh, new, free Muslim lifestyle magazine committed to publishing uplifting and enlightening material for our community. With a team of ulama regularly contributing, you can expect our articles to be authentic and in light of the Quran and Sunnah. Islamic Magazine also contains diverse input by talented feature writers on a wide range of topics to inspire your life as a Muslim. So pick up your free copy at selected mosques or visit islamicmagazine.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
What is the one charitable cause that supports children, empowers youth, and benefits society? That rewards the donor perpetually, even after death? That assists the needy to break free from poverty and live independently? And that provides for the people of the Holy Land, Palestine? The EAP Education Waqf Project. One project, multiple benefits. EAP, Charity for a Sustainable Future.
O mankind, read Al-Quran, the Last Testament, to get your free pack containing the meaning of the glorious Quran and 10 free publications. Please contact IDCI on 0121 327 2277 or visit www.idci.co.uk. Also available as a free MP3 CD of the complete Quran recitation. Support Duaa in Britain. Please donate generously. IDCI, committed to conveying the message of Islam to every home in the UK. Inshallah.
Welcome to Taste of Lahore Southall. Come in, relax and enjoy delicious flame-grilled barbecue and karai flavours marinated in special Lahori spices. Why not try our signature dishes, Lahori Halim, Nahari Paya and Kona Gosht. Enjoy yourself with friends and family in our private dining facilities, located at 175 The Broadway Southall, opposite McDonald's. Taste of Lahore, sizzling, delightful and totally memorable.
There we have it, 50 eager participants who've taken the challenge of driving 25 ambulances from the UK to Pakistan. But you can still participate. Here's how. Ambulance. Running costs for 6 months. Running costs for 1 month. Full paramedic training. Stretcher. First aid kit. Wheelchair. Call us today or simply visit muslimhands.org.uk and play your part in this year's big drive. Hurry, we leave soon.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah. Welcome back to IslamQA, inshallah. We are here trying to help you with your queries and questions, giving you some Islamic responses, inshallah, to those issues that are troubling you. I'm your host for this session, Shaqur Rahman. So let's continue with taking your calls, inshallah. The next viewer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
Yeah, alhamdulillah, brother. I've got a question for you, brother.
Go ahead, inshallah.
What is, when I sleep at night, brother, yeah? What is, I'm burping a lot, brother, and my feet burn at night time. And what is, brother, I've been told by friends and colleagues to read Surah Al-Ham Sharif and sometimes Surah Al-Baqarah. I read Surah in there and Ayatul Kursi as well, brother, yeah?
Uh-huh.
And what happens, what I find sometimes that it gets hot, really hot, the feet, and sometimes I feel like something's coming out my feet from the leg downwards.
Okay.
Like my toes kind of bent, one of them, and something's coming out. Then I'm alright for about half hour now, and then it starts again all over. Sometimes I'm okay for hours, and sometimes every half hour now, it's like something's messing around with me. So what I do normally when I get up for Fajr, in my sajda, I read Duaa to Allah, whatever's around me, or everything, probably give me shifa, Allah, give me shifa. And my head is like, it's not steam's coming out of it, it just kind of pops.
Mm-hmm.
It just clears. And then after once I sajda, I'm fine. And I go back to sleep and I'm fine. But I was doing a day, alhamdulillah, I'm fine. And there's no issues. It's only at night time. I've had it medically checked, brother, yeah?
Yep.
I've had it all medically checked. There's nothing medically wrong with me.
Okay,
the
mashallah.
doctor checked me. They said, there's nothing wrong with me at all.
Okay.
I don't know if you can help me on this situation.
Let's, looking at that issue, the brother says that he's sought medical help for the issues that he's experiencing. This heat and different sensations, especially at night. What one would advise, if things change again, symptoms change, you should always be referring back for medical advice as well. So, there might be a medical issue that they haven't uncovered yet. Sometimes they have to do different tests, etc. But as for the Quran, yes, the Prophet ﷺ, he used to recite, before he went to sleep, he would recite, he would cup his hands and blow into them with a light spittle 3 times. And then he would recite into them, he would recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, then he would recite Surah Al-Falaq, and then he would recite Surah Al-Nas, and then he would wipe over the whole of his body, and he would repeat that action 3 times. So that's something one should do before they go to bed. Also, reciting the Ayatul Kursi, one should recite that before going to bed. Also, one can recite Surah Al-Mulk. And for the issue itself, just rely upon Allah. There is nothing that can harm you except with the permission of Allah. And Allah is the one in whose hands is the cure. So yes, recite Surah Al-Baqarah, recite Surah Al-Fatiha, recite Quran in general, increase on your du'as, increase on your adhkar. Don't worry about this issue too much, rather concentrate on the cure. The cure is in our hands. The cure, Allah has given it to us already in our hands, the Al-Quran. We can pick it up, we can, turn to Allah whenever we like. Any problems that come to us, yes, if they're medical issues, we need to go to the doctors and seek their help. But at the end of the day, those medical treatments will not help unless Allah wills them to help. So let us turn to the Creator, the one who gave those medicines a certain effect, gives any medicine that can work its effect and its power. So let us turn to Him first and foremost and beseech Him and ask Him to cure us of any problems that we are facing. So increase in your Quran, increase in your dhikr, but at the same time, make sure that you're staying away from all kinds of sins. Make sure that you're doing all your obligations and trying to do as many of the sunnah, the recommended deeds as possible. So if there is something troubling you from the jinn or evil eye or whatever it is, it will have a weaker effect, if any effect at all. So just work on bettering yourself, work on taking as much as the cure of the cure as you can, and inshallah Allah gives you shifa in a very soon, and does not prolong this situation of yours, inshallah. Jazakallah khairah. Let's try to take another caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Hello, brother. I've got a quick question for you.
Go ahead, inshallah.
Just that when someone is drunk and give a dalaqa, and then a few months later he said I was drunk, and then he gave another dalaqa, second dalaqa, does that mean that you can't go back to him because he said I was drunk? The first dalaqa is not true, so the second one dalaqa is true. So
Okay.
I'm a bit confused, brother. Could you answer it for me? Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Now, as for the issue of talaq and someone being drunk when they're giving talaq, now, first and foremost, as for a specific issue, if someone claims they were drunk, this, that, and the other, we need to ascertain what the reality was. So that particular issue, you should take it to a reputable Sharia council or a Sharia judge who can actually ascertain what actually happened, if a person has an excuse, if the talaq counts or not. That's for a specific issue. Yes, a person who is drunk and has no awareness of what he is saying, he's drunk and he doesn't know what he's doing, what he's saying, what he says is not counted as anything. And talaq will count when the person actually intends that talaq and says it, and he is aware of what he's doing, what he's saying, in an aware state. So if a person makes that talaq and says you're divorced in a state where he's conscious, obviously he's aware of what's going on, and he makes that talaq, then that talaq would count. As for what actually happened in that particular situation, then someone needs to ascertain exactly what happened, speaking to the person concerned and those people who witnessed what happened. So, as for specific issues, then they need to be dealt with in that manner, inshallah. So with that, let's try to take the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, wa alaikum salam.
Go ahead, inshallah.
Yeah, brother, I was a footballer, so I want you to make a dua for me.
You're a footballer and you want dua for you, yeah?
Yeah, I want you to dua for me because I used to be a proper footballer, but now my football's going down. No, that I have no team at the moment right now. I'm just looking for a team.
Okay. Is there any other question we can help you with today? Okay. The brothers are asking for dua again. May Allah better his situation. Perhaps Allah wants this opportunity for you to look into other avenues rather than football. If you say, you're a footballer and your football's going down, perhaps Allah wants you to look at other things. Perhaps other things which are more beneficial for the Muslim community, for the Muslims, and on a worldwide scale. So don't think that the only thing that you have is football. What is primary to a Muslim is his iman. And what he looks at is the betterment of the Muslims. When he does that, then he is at the service of the Muslims and he is emulating the Prophet ﷺ more so than at any other time. So perhaps this is an opportunity for you. It might look as a bad thing or a negative from your perspective at the moment, but Allah is the one who says, "Asa an takrahu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum." Perhaps you look at something and you don't like it, yet it is something better for you. Then Allah, when He finishes the verse, He says, "Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun." You don't know where the good is and you don't know where the evil is, but Allah is the one who knows. So maybe this is an opportunity for you to look at what else you can do and develop those skills which are more beneficial for yourself, for your hereafter, for the Muslims in general. So perhaps you need to open up or broaden your horizons in that respect. But may Allah make your situation better and facilitate that which is best for you, inshallah. With that, let's take the next caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, sister.
Fine, thank you. I want a dua for my husband. His work is always when he do a job or something, he is not very successful in daily life. Always he lose the job, and he nothing is barakat in his work, in his money.
Okay, sister's troubled with her husband not being successful in jobs and things like that, and she's saying that he loses jobs and is not being successful and making money, etc. These are difficult times that we live in, and when we see these kinds of things happening to us, it's very easy for us to become very disheartened, depressed. It's our livelihood. It's a natural response that the human being feels. Yet, at the same time, we need to turn back and look, who is Ar-Razaq? Who is the one who provides? It is Allah. The rizq that we're going to get has already been written for us. This is the belief of the Muslim. So may Allah make the brother's situation, his wife, their situation better. Yet at the same time, turn to Allah, make sure you're staying away from all the haram, do as much good as you can, and with that, hopefully Allah will return barakah into your lives and bless you with more barakah. Allah will open up the barakat from the heavens and the earth for you, inshallah. We hope that for you and every Muslim who's in a similar situation, inshallah. With that, let's take the next caller. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, caller.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Just a couple of questions for you, Sheikh. The first one is about my son who's finished reciting the Quran.
MashaAllah.
And just wanted to know if he could get a few friends around and celebrate that. If that's okay.
Okay.
And secondly, just wanted to know how far do you go if you wanted to, if you're going outside and you've seen a halal board, do you just take the word of the shop advertising the halal, or would you go in and question it a little bit more?
Okay. Jazakallah khairah.
Buyers that come through the door and it says a halal, is it okay for us to go and eat down there, or should we do more?
Okay. Jazakallah khairah. Let's try to answer those, inshallah. Sister says her son has finished reading the Quran, whether reading or finished memorizing the Quran. Can she have some kind of party congratulations for that issue? Inshallah, there's nothing wrong with that, and it will hopefully encourage them, his friends, and encourage him to, it gives him that praise that one, especially as a child, one requires, one needs to motivate them further. Because, when a person has finished reading the Quran or memorizing the Quran even, the work hasn't stopped. The Quran is something that we need to stay with day in, day out. And more so for the one who finishes memorizing the Quran, because to actually retain the Quran, it requires that effort on a daily basis, so you do not leave the Quran. And this is the book of guidance that we have been given. This is the thing that is going to keep us close to Allah. So we can never, never afford to let it go. So having this kind of gathering together, congratulations, having some food, having some friends around, inshallah there's no problem with that, as long as you take care not to sometimes people become jealous, so you need to have a look at that issue. And family and friends that are sincere and want good for you, you would invite those people, and make sure those kind of people are invited that only look for good for you and your family. And that would be something encouraging for him. There's no problem with that, inshallah ta'ala. Now, as for the second thing, there's a board on a shop that says halal. Should we accept it at face value, or should we go in and inquire? Now, in this country, we have various boards, various different companies and authorities. Some people trust only one kind of authority. So if the board says that we're halal, you might want to inquire. If you're of that opinion that I only take halal to be from this kind of authority, then you might inquire. But unless there's some doubt in that Muslim, as long as he's a Muslim and you don't have any qualms or any doubts concerning his Islam or the way he operates, that he's only going to provide halal, or he's not a very upright character, then you wouldn't inquire. If something becomes known that this person actually puts the halal label on food and it's not actually halal, then you might want to inquire. But there's no obligation on you to inquire further unless there's some kind of doubt in your mind due to some substantiated evidence that this food may not actually be halal. As long as you don't have that kind of doubt and you're happy with that person's deen and what's going on in the shop, etc., then you wouldn't ask. And this would be in a country like this. Whereas when in a Muslim land, you wouldn't even ask. That would be something you would refrain from doing anyway. So inshallah, you wouldn't ask unless there was a problem in the issue itself. But with that, let's move to the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, sister.
Hi, my name's Amy. And I just wanted to ask you about because my parents, as I grew up, they never really taught me the Quran or anything like that. I just grew up being a Muslim, but I've never really learned the Quran. But as I've grown up, I've got a temper, a very bad temper, and it's just gotten worse over the years. And now I've only just found Islam and I've only just started to learn, so I don't really know how to control my temper and stuff like that. So okay. I just wanted to ask, what do I do?
Inshallah, taking from the Prophet ﷺ, first and foremost, because he is our guide. Anger is something that we cannot remove from ourselves. It's an emotion, it's part of us. Every single person feels angry. Now, controlling the anger, it helps when a person looks at the consequences that lashing out lead to. Okay, there's no positive consequences in lashing out. So the Prophet ﷺ says, when you get angry, a person, if he's standing up, he should sit down. If a person's sitting down, should lie down. So there's that advice one can take. Moving away from the situation sometimes helps. The Prophet ﷺ also advised us, when you become angry, make wudu. Anger is like a hot coal thrown by shaitan into the heart. So put that hot coal out with wudu, with water. Also, at the same time, the Prophet ﷺ advised a person, or advised that a person, when he gets angry, he should say, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." I seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan, the accursed. Why? Because he is the one who wants us to act out this anger and do something that is actually haram as well. Start creating more enmity, adding fuel to the fire, causing more harm to those people who are close to us. So we prevent shaitan from doing this. There's an example, a story that I read concerning anger. It was quite pertinent, or it has a very good meaning. There's a son, and his father wants to teach him about anger. So every time he gets angry now, his father says, you have to hammer a nail into the fence. And whenever you control your anger, you get to take one nail out. So, in the beginning, he's hammering nails all over the fence. And the fence becomes full of nails, and then he starts to learn how to control his anger, so he starts taking nails out. Until he gets to the point where every nail that he's hammered into the fence is taken out. Then his father says to him, look at the fence. So the fence is full of holes. This is the consequence of anger. If you don't control the anger, you're going to harm so much, and that harm, once it's done, you will never be able to repair that harm. طيب, with that, let's take the next caller, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, sister.
I have one question, please. What is the regarding of Islam if I put perfume on my clothes and then go out?
If you put perfume on your clothes?
Perfume on my clothes, then I go out. Yeah,
okay.
Regarding of Islam.
Okay. Let's take the next caller as well, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I got laryngitis. Can you hear me?
It sounds like the sister's lost her voice. I'll let you try once more.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I can just about hear you, sister.
Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Go ahead.
I have a friend. She's become a new Muslim. She wants to.
I'm afraid we can't. You have a friend that's become a new Muslim.
Okay, yes. She wants to marry. She wants to marry her boyfriend. Her boyfriend.
Okay, she wants to marry her boyfriend.
Who is a Muslim.
Okay. طيب. She wants to marry her boyfriend who's not a Muslim. Okay. Let's deal with those two questions, inshallah. A Muslim woman who puts perfume on her clothes is not meant to go out of the house with that perfume on. Why? Allah has prohibited zina. Okay? Let's look at it from this whole angle. Allah prohibited zina itself, anything that leads to illicit relationships, not between a husband and wife. So Allah has also prohibited everything that is an avenue that leads to zina. One of those things is attracting others with your scent or your smell or your perfume, etc. So logically, we would expect to find that perfume would be haram. So a Muslim woman who puts perfume on should not go outside of her house wearing that perfume. So that's a prohibition from the Prophet ﷺ specifically concerning that. Now, the other sister who asked, someone who's become a Muslim, a new Muslim, she wants to marry her boyfriend. Now, first and foremost, the boyfriend, she says, is not Muslim. A Muslim woman is not allowed to marry a non-Muslim. So what the early Muslims used to do was that a woman who became a Muslim, even if her husband was there, they would not continue in that marriage until he became a Muslim. So a Muslim woman cannot marry a non-Muslim man. This is a part of the Sharia and was never done, and the need was there as well. So a Muslim woman cannot marry a non-Muslim. And then a Muslim woman cannot have a boyfriend either. So inshallah, may Allah give them tawfiq to have good Islam. And with that, we've come to the end of the show for today. Inshallah, we'll see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم
Hajj, a journey to the blessed land, a journey to the house of Allah, a journey you will never forget. To perform this spiritual journey of a lifetime, start saving.
Submit to His will, His orders, His prohibitions, staying away from them. That is al-Islam. Anything short of that, then we haven't practiced Islam the way Allah wants us to practice it. We haven't entered Islam completely and fully as Allah has told us to. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dukhulu fi silmi kaffa. Oh, you who believe, enter Islam completely and fully. So with that, inshallah, let us turn to some of your questions. The first viewer, inshallah, the first viewer's question, inshallah, go ahead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Go ahead, sister.
Yes, I just wanted to ask a question. Is regarding your wishes, like say for instance, you're praying to Almighty Allah to grant you something, and along the line something comes your way, but you're not very sure if it's actually what it's meant to be because it doesn't fulfill some of the criteria they stated. Say for instance, you're trying to look for a righteous spouse, and you've already highlighted some of the things you're hoping to find in a person. But somehow you met someone and the person does not fully meet some of the criteria or some of the things you like to have in a future spouse. So
okay, inshallah.
What do you do? Do you leave it outrightly until you get exactly what you want? Or
so once a person gets married, the person will not, both sides, whether the husband or the wife, they never stay the same. There's always a change that occurs once you get married, situations change, children come along, all of these kinds of issues impact on characters, impact on personalities, so they actually change and a person develops as they grow. So that should also be taken into account. Perhaps they're not that perfect person right now. It doesn't actually mean and necessitate that they won't be that perfect person later in life. All of us can change for the better and all of us can change for the worse. So we pray that Allah makes us change for the better in all circumstances. With that, let's turn to the next question, inshallah. Go ahead, viewer. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go ahead, brother.
I've been traveling for Umrah, inshallah.
MashaAllah.
I just wanted to know how many days. How many days. Probably shortening my salah if need be. But how many days am I allowed to do this?
How many days are you allowed to do what? Sorry.
Days.
I didn't catch that. Can you say it again, please?
I'm going for 10 days.
For 10 days, okay. Umrah for 10 days?
How many days am I allowed to shorten my salah if need be?
Okay, shorten the salah. Okay. And we need to look inside ourselves and have we internalized this issue? Submitting to the will of Allah, submitting to His commands, being that slave of Allah. Yani every single thing in creation is, whether it likes it or not, a created being is a slave of Allah, whether they like it or not. Yet the Muslim is given that higher degree. Why? Because he chooses, out of his free will, he chooses to submit to everything that Allah has ordered. This is Islam. Istislamu lillah. complete and utter submission to Allah. Whether He orders us with something that we understand the benefits of or we don't understand, yet we know, we actualize and we practice the fact that Allah is Al-Alim, Al-Hakim. He is the most knowing, the all-knowing, the most wise. So whenever He orders something, and we know it is an order from Allah, we enact it whether we understand the wisdom behind it or not. And whenever Allah prohibits, likewise, we follow. We say, as Allah tells us in the Quran, that the statement of the believers is, قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They say, we hear and we obey, غُفْرَانَكَ. Oh Allah, forgive us. This is the statement of the believers when they hear any command or prohibition. We need to work on ourselves to become those true slaves of Allah who completely character, then accept Him and marry Him. And if you do not do so, you're going to spread corruption in the land. Now, yes, compatibility issues and other practical issues may play a part, but you will never find anyone who is perfect. And if we look for that perfect person that fits every single criteria on our lists, we will in fact never end up getting married. There are many brothers and sisters out there who, especially at the beginning, in the beginning of their search for a spouse, they have this huge long criteria list. And then what happens? No one meets the criteria list and years go by and they haven't got married. So the criteria list practically has to get short. And it becomes shorter because why? They realize that they're not being practical, they're not being pragmatic about the issue. So you're never going to find that perfect spouse, but as long as they meet the main criteria and the main issues that you require, which is deen, character, good nature, those kind of issues, as long as the main issues are met, then one should proceed with that marriage, inshaAllah ta'ala. As long as you've sought counsel from your family members and you've made istikhara, etc., and nothing prevents you from that, then go along and marry that person and pray to Allah that Allah makes that person better. So we remember all.
You just give it a trial and see what happens while you're praying to Almighty Allah. So I'm just confused. I'd just like you to advise and shed more light on that.
Okay, we'll try to deal with that, inshallah. Concerning dua in general and things that you wish for, things that you ask for, whenever you make a dua to Allah and you're asking for something, we know that Allah is going to respond. Allah never leaves a dua except that He responds to it. So, how does Allah respond to our dua? Sometimes He gives us exactly what we want as we want it. That's clear. Sometimes Allah doesn't give us what we want, what gives us something better than that. Sometimes Allah withholds that thing from us and gives us something better than that in the hereafter. Sometimes Allah will remove, because of that dua, a calamity, so you will get something which you didn't expect or you don't understand that it was a response to that dua. So how Allah answers that dua is different. It does not have to be in the way we want. Now, concerning the issue of a spouse, and a person making dua for certain traits in a spouse or a spouse-to-be, etc., and then you see certain traits in someone, but not the full criteria being met. Now, the Prophet ﷺ, his advice to us in this issue is that if you find someone who is pleasing to you in his deen and pleasing to you in his